What if I told you that the history of chiropractic has been stolen? That its foundational principles weren't discovered in some small Iowa town in 1895, but were practiced and documented and perfected in the temples of Egypt, the courts of Chinese emperors, and the surgical theaters of ancient Rome. Crazy, huh? And what if I told you that the modern chiropractor is the heir to a 5,000-year-old legacy, a legacy that has been forgotten, ignored, and sort of repackaged as a 19th century invention? This isn't a conspiracy theory. This is history. Spinal alignment is a foundational healing tradition that has been practiced by civilizations across the globe for thousands of years. And it's crazy to think about the contrast of a relatively new and modern advent of drugs and surgery when contrasted with ancient spinal alignment practices. Okay, let me make this real for you, listeners, okay? And so it begins with a feeling every single one of us knows. You know, that dull ache in your lower back, that sharp, electric twinge down your leg, that sudden and infuriating inability to simply touch your toes. Back pain. It is the great human connector, a misery shared across millennia. And for as long as we've felt it, we've asked a single, desperate question. How do we fix it? That question, that idea split our ancestors onto two epic paths. The first is the path of the anatomist, the empirical tradition. It sees the spine as a machine, a brilliant, intricate column of bone, disc, and nerve that can be physically broken and mechanically fixed. The second is the path of the mystic, the energetic tradition. It sees the spine not as a structure, but as a conduit, a sacred central channel for the flow of life force itself. Call it ki, prana, or innate intelligence. The story they teach you about chiropractic, born in America in 1895, is a lie. Not because it didn't happen, but because it was the end of the story, not the beginning. It was the moment these two ancient rivers of thought finally crashed together. To understand what was really born that day, we have to journey back, way back. Our first stop, ancient Egypt, 3,500 years ago. Forget mysticism and spells. We're in the hands of a trauma surgeon. His guide is a papyrus scroll, the Edwin Smith Papyrus, the oldest surgical text on Earth. Inside are 48 cases of physical injury, clinically organized from head to toe, and the descriptions are wildly, breathtakingly modern. A compression fracture of the neck, a dislocated vertebra crushing the spinal cord. The diagnosis is physical, precise. He is unable to look at his two shoulders. The treatments are practical. Bind the wound with fresh meat, use honey as an antiseptic. But here is the genius. The papyrus establishes a system of triage. It separates cases into an ailment which I will treat, an ailment with which I will contend, and an ailment not to be treated. This is the world's first evidence-based practice. This is the bedrock of the anatomist's path. Now let's bounce across the world to the exact same moment in history. In China, a completely different idea is taking root. Writings from 2700 BCE speak of manipulating the spine for back pain. This isn't surgery. This is an art called tui na, pushing and grasping. The goal isn't to fix a bone, it's to restore the flow of qi, the body's vital energy. The Yellow Emperor's inner canon teaches that all illness is a traffic jam, a blockage of qi in the body's energy highways, the meridians. The practitioner isn't just rubbing a sore muscle, they are diagnosing qi stagnation and applying a specific technique to dispel the blockage. This is the first codification of the mystic's path. And it wasn't just happening in China. No, not just there. On the Indian subcontinent, the science of Ayurveda saw the spine as the Merudanda, the divine pillar of the body. The life force prana flows through energy channels called nadis. And where are the most critical hubs of this energy located? Well, the 7 chakras, of course, stacked one on top of the other, right along the spinal column. And get this, an Ayurvedic physician knew that a misalignment in the spine wasn't just a backache issue. Nope, far more important, it was an energy crisis that could shut down the whole system. Think about that for a moment. Two of the world's greatest civilizations with no contact to each other independently arrived at the exact same and immensely profound conclusion, which is that the spine is the physical channel for the energy of life. And meanwhile, the anatomist's path was being paved in the Mediterranean. Remember, Hippocrates, the so-called father of Western medicine, well, he too was obsessed with the spine. His famous declaration, it sort of echoes through the ages. Get knowledge of the spine, for this is the requisite for many diseases. I have this declaration on one of the walls in my office. Hippocrates wasn't just trash-talking, he was building. He designed the Hippocratic board, an early traction table, to stretch the spine so he could apply direct, forceful pressure to a misaligned vertebra, like spinal decompression therapy today. This was biomechanics, pure and simple. But then came a fellow called Galen, a Roman physician who changed literally everything. By dissecting animals, Galen did what no one had done before. He mapped the nervous system. He proved that the brain and spine were the command center for everything. He severed a pig's laryngeal nerve in a public demonstration, and the pig stopped squealing. He crudely, and some say cruelly, he showed that if you cut the spinal cord, paralysis was the inevitable result. Galen gave us the neurological paradigm. He provided the first scientific really the first proof for why the spine is the body's master control system. This is the absolute fundamental core principle of chiropractic, sound established and proven 1,600 years before its supposed founding. As Europe fell into the Dark Ages, this knowledge could have been lost forever. It wasn't. It was saved, synthesized, and supercharged during the Islamic Golden Age. Scholars like Avicenna and surgeons like Albucasis didn't just translate Hippocrates and Galen. They refined their work, creating surgical guides and medical encyclopedias that would become the gold standard in Europe for the next 600 years. They built the bridge of knowledge to the Renaissance. But while the scholars saved the theory, who saved the craft? The common folk. The village healers of Europe, known as bone setters. As official medicine became obsessed with pills and potions, the bone setters kept the ancient hands-on tradition alive. They passed their skills down from master to apprentice, mother to daughter, father to son. They were a living library of manipulative techniques, using a knee in the back and a powerful thrust to fix what ailed you. And that brings us to the chaos of 19th century America, a medical Wild West. It's here, in this fertile ground of new ideas, that the anatomist science and the bone setter's craft finally collided with a new version of the mystic's philosophy. First, in 1874 came Andrew Taylor Still, a physician disgusted with the brutal medicine of his day, who became a lightning bone setter. He founded osteopathy based on the idea that structural blockages impede the flow of blood and nerve force. Then, 21 years later, a magnetic healer named Daniel David Palmer entered the scene. The story is legendary. A janitor, Harvey Lillard, was partially deaf. Palmer found a painful, misaligned vertebra in his upper back. He gave it a sharp manual thrust. A loud pop was heard, and Lillard's hearing was reportedly restored. From this single event, Palmer built his entire philosophy. Daniel Palmer's son, B.J. Palmer, hired Ronald Reagan for his first broadcasting job at a radio station that the Palmers owned that marked the beginning of Reagan's career in show business. The Palmers were a brilliant yet totally dysfunctional family. In fact, B.J. killed his father. Okay, I'm getting off track here. The practice of medicine, still in its infancy at the turn of the century, shifted and was operating as part of a powerful cartel linking banking, legal, and defense industrial interests. And so the infamous Rockefellers strategically reshaped American medicine in the early 20th century. Through their foundation's funding of the Flexner Report, they systematically discredited and eliminated competition from natural and holistic healing traditions. This move established a new medical monopoly centered on a reductionistic and patentable, we're talking big business here, petroleum-derived or based pharmaceuticals, ensuring that the practice of medicine became a highly profitable arm of their interconnected industrial empire. This cartel, so to speak, took over the medical schools and removed any vitalistic practices. For those of you who don't know the difference here, it's like this. Mechanism or mechanistic beliefs in healthcare views the body as just a machine, treating diseases as physical or chemical breakdowns to the parts, be it heart, lungs, your foot, what have you, to be fixed with interventions like drugs and surgery only. Vitalism, on the other hand, sees the body as possessing an innate healing intelligence, that the power that makes the body also heals it as well. That also healing comes spiritually from above and down and inside out, not externally, like with drugs. I'm not talking woo-woo here. In other words, suppose you cut your finger, the body systematically repairs itself with incredible organization. All I'm saying is, what is directing this healing organization? And another point is with health practices focused on supporting this natural ability to overcome illness, in that the body doesn't need much help. It just doesn't need any interference. And that you are not the sum of your parts. You are a hell of a lot more. That disease manifests from interference to the body, be it physical, such as injuries, chemical, such as poor diet or chemicals, and most important, emotional stress, which I believe is the biggest stress on the human body. So how can we quantify a higher power in a laboratory? And how can we quantify a person's will to live? Or even a mother's love for her child, for that matter? I believe that we have become so specialized that we have completely lost the plot today. Do me a favor, look up or Google a nursing handbook from the 1890s and see how they treated an infection, a laceration, a broken bone, etc. I believe that they were far more advanced than anything today. Think about this. With all of the medical hardware, the fancy doctor's title, massive hospital institutions, trillions in expenditures in what we call healthcare. How is this all working out for us? Are we healthier or are we living longer with chronic illness? Honestly, I believe that what we have today is an extension of what I call battlefield medicine. We truly made advances in sanitation, meaning that there is much less feces in our drinking water, which I believe is the only reason that we are living longer, but certainly not healthier today. Other than that, we are losing the war on cancer, heart disease, Alzheimer's, you name it. We should stop calling it healthcare and appropriately rename it as sick care. Israenia chiropractic included. Okay, sorry about that. I am stepping off of my soapbox. Okay, where was I? Okay, so these early chiropractors had their challenges. Hundreds of chiropractors were literally imprisoned throughout the 1920s for practicing vitalistic practices with a fierce struggle for legal recognition against the established Rockefeller medical cartel. These early chiropractors were hardcore. I often ask young interns this question who work with me. If you last person standing, would vitalism continue or perish? I mean, where are all of the Michael Collins of today's generation? Let me share this quick story with you. Recently, I had a young chiropractic student who was interviewing for a job with us. He was watching me adjust a client, and he saw a technique that he had never seen before. While scrolling on his smartphone, he said to me, "Wow, can you show me what you just did?" I said to him, "Certainly, perhaps we can start tomorrow." He went on to say, "Go ahead and show me now, since I have an extra 15 minutes before I catch my bus back home." Little did he know that I had been researching and developing this particular technique for the past 30 years, and I was getting close to approaching mastery. This young student wanted an app or a quick spine hack or another so-called tool in his toolbox, something that he could learn in 15 minutes, something that would take decades to master. Please, this is not a put down on this young student. On broader terms, it's a pejorative on society as a whole. We are becoming more and more mechanistic. We have smartphones, smart devices that make things faster, but are we better off? Did you ever notice that they say smartphones, but not smart people? So back to Daniel Palmer, or D.D. Palmer. And so he didn't use the word chi or prana. He used a Western term, innate intelligence, a life-giving healing power that flowed from the brain, down the spine, and out to the entire body. A misalignment, which he named a vertebral subluxation, was like a dimmer switch on that flow. The purpose of the chiropractic adjustment was simple. Find the blockage, correct it, and let the life force flow freely once again. So D.D. Palmer, the guy who started chiropractic, his whole idea wasn't really about back pain. It was more about this concept he called innate intelligence. Basically, that the body knows how to heal itself. He figured that when your spine gets out of alignment, he called those little misalignments subluxations, it can kind of pinch or interfere with your nerves. And that nerve interference messes up the signals from your brain to the rest of your body, leading to what he called dis-ease, which he saw as the root of all sorts of health problems. So the point of an adjustment for him wasn't to fix the pain itself, but to remove that interference so the body could just do its thing and get back to being healthy on its own. I kind of align with that philosophy. Okay, so let's pull the threads together. Are you ready? Okay, the empirical anatomical thread. Born with Egyptian surgeons, given mechanical form by Hippocrates, proven with neurological science by Galen, and preserved by Islamic scholars. The energetic holistic thread, voiced in the chi of ancient China and the prana of ancient India, seeing the spine as the axis of life itself. In 19th century America, these two ancient rivers converged. The raw, practical craft of the European bone setter was given a new name and a new philosophy, an energetic model, viewed through the modern Western lens of anatomy and neurology, and the history of chiropractic wasn't invented in 1895. So, in other words, it was sort of reclaimed. And the founders of modern manual therapy don't just stand on their own. They stand on the shoulders of a 5,000-year-old pyramid of giants. Egyptian surgeons, Chinese masters, Ayurvedic physicians, Greek mechanists, Roman neuroscientists, Islamic scholars, and generations of nameless bone setters. In fact, Ireland has a history of bone setters memorialized in many of the ancient writs of almost 1,100 years. And so, chiropractic's history wasn't stolen. It was simply forgotten. And it is time we remembered. And as we remember, we see a story not of a single invention, but of a powerful and enduring legacy. A legacy that reminds us that true innovation isn't born from nothing, but from the patient accumulation of wisdom. It's a testament to the enduring human quest to understand and heal the body. And it offers us an optimistic vision for the future, a future where the best of ancient knowledge and a fusion of modern science could work hand in hand to create a stronger, more holistic, or even common sense and more effective approach to health for everyone. I wish you the best in your journey of discovery. Thank you.